Okay, join me for chapter 25, Everything Comes Right. There's a bit of singing in this one, which... After a good rest, the 6 woodpeckers set to work again at the hole they had made. Went their strong beats, drumming away at the wood. Everyone watched to see the hole getting bigger and bigger. Then a voice floated up, singing a mournful song. 2 kettles for Silky, 2 saucepans for me, 2 dishes for Moonface, we're sad as can be. That's the old saucepan man, said Joe in delight. Did you hear his silly song? That's to tell us they are all there. Move aside a bit, woodpeckers, and let me call to them. The woodpeckers made room for Joe by the hole. He stuck his head through and yelled loudly, Silky, Moonface, Saucepan, we're going to rescue you. We'll pull you through the hole we've made at the back of the Angry Pixie's room. There was a squeal of delight from Silky, a shout from Moonface, and a clatter of pans from Saucepan. We're coming, yelled Moonface. We've got a rope to come up by. We shan't be long. Is the hole big enough to squeeze through? Oh, not yet, shouted Joe back. But the woodpeckers are just going to set to work again, and soon they'll have made it bigger. Went the woodpeckers' strong beaks, and the hole grew larger and larger. At last, it really was big enough for anyone to get through. Joe leaned through it, his torch shining into the slippery slip. He saw a light gleaming a little way down, and noticed a rope shaking nearby, as if somebody was holding on to it. They're coming up, he said to the others. They've got a light of some sort too. Oh, it's a candle. Oh, I can see Moonface now. He's the first. And he's helping Silky up. Oh, and the saucepan man's behind. They'll soon be here. The Angry Pixie put on a kettle to... Angry Pixie put on a kettle to boil some water. I expect they would like some hot chocolate or something. Have you got anything to eat? I've got pot cakes and Google buns, said the Angry Pixie, looking into a tin. They'll like those. Moonface, at last, hauled himself right up to the hole. His round face looked white and rather worried. But he gave Joe a grin, as usual. Help Silky through first, he said. Joe and Rick pulled Silky through the hole. She looked pale too, but how glad she was to see all her friends. She flung her arms around Beth and Franny, and they all cried tears of joy down one another. Then Moonface squeezed through the hole, and last of all, the old saucepan man, though he had to take off a few of his pans before he could get through. We never thought we'd be rescued, said Moonface. We'd quite given up hope. We kept knocking and banging, hoping someone would hear us. Yes, we did hear you, said Joe. That's what made us think you might be trapped inside the slippery slip. But Moonface, how did you get there? What happened? Wait a minute. Let them have something to eat and drink first, said What's-His-Name. They must be terribly hungry, not having had anything to eat and drink for so long. Oh, we've had plenty, said Moonface. We didn't starve, but I'll tell you all about it. Everyone settled down to hear the story. You see, one morning this week, Silky, Saucepan and I were sitting up in my house talking, began Moonface, and suddenly we saw 2 people from the Land of Tempers looking in at us. Yes, Sir Stamperlot and Lady Yellowround, said Joe. We know them. Well, they looked very fiercely at us, said Moonface, and they told us that they wanted to leave the Land of Tempers because the head man was very angry with them about something. I think they had broken his windows in a temper. Well, they had escaped and they meant to live in the Faraway Tree. They had found out by accident that their land was over it, you see. And they wanted your house, cried Rick. Yes, said Moonface. They had been down the tree and seen that Silky's house was empty, because Silky was up here with me, and had taken that for themselves. At least, Yellowround meant to have it for herself, and Stamperlot meant to have mine. And they said they had stopped up the trapdoor at the bottom, said Silky, and they meant to push us down the slippery slip, and then stop up the hole in Moonface's room, so that we would be prisoners in the slide. Well, you can guess how frightened we were, said Moonface. Old Saucepan heard it all because Stamperlot shouted so loudly, and the clever old thing began to stuff his kettles and saucepans with food from my larder, and some candles too, and matches, and a rope. I couldn't think what he was doing. So of course, when we were pushed into Slippery Slip, we had plenty of food," said Silky, putting her arm around Saucepan and hugging him. "All because Saucepan was so clever. He managed to tie the rope onto something that we had to climb up and down on if we wanted to," said Moonface. "We found there's a little sort of cubby-hole halfway down where we could sit and eat and drink. We lit a candle, and then Silky thought of knocking and banging somewhere near to the Angry Pixie's house, just in case you might be there to hear it." "Oh, we were so worried about you," said Jo. "We just simply didn't know what to do. I'm so glad we thought of the woodpeckers. So you're really not very hungry or thirsty after all?" "No, not very," said Moonface. "But some of the cake we brought got rather stale. Woodpeckers, would you like it?" It was a treat for the woodpeckers, and they pecked at the stale cake eagerly before they flew off. They had been very pleased to help. "And now, what are we going to do about turning Sir Stamp-a-Lot and Yell-a-Round out of our houses?" said Silky. "We can't all live with the Angry Pixie. His house is too small." Just as she said that, there came the sound of shouting and yelling way up the tree. Everyone listened. There we will leave it.